Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I know I skipped a week, but we keep it moving. Today my cup says pause because I thought that I got these cups from World Market, and they all say different phrases, and sometimes I would like pull them out of the cupboard and say, today my word is this. So they have a variety of words. So today my word is pause. With everything that's happening in the nations, in all the nations, whether it's COVID, whether it's the George Floyd trial, the verdict came out today. People have mixed emotions about that. But then I just wanted to pause and really think about the fact that in 1 year, our lives have changed and they will never be back, you know? So that's a breakdown of all this, the cup. All right, so today the book I have chosen is a book I just finished with my book club. It's called Well-Behaved Indian Women by Samuya Dave. Breakdown, the plot is 3 generations of women. The youngest is getting married, the daughter. So it's daughter, mom, grandmother, and we're following the journey and all it takes to get ready for a wedding, conflict, family conflict that might happen. So it's pretty interesting, and as you journey to all that, you realize maybe what you thought you wanted, what you thought you always wanted, wasn't it? So let's get to it. All right, so I probably will answer 5 questions if you have the time. You know, we keep reading, we keep talking, we keep communicating, and we keep it moving. All right, so the first question is, this book examines the bonds mothers and daughters share. Were there any parts of Mimi and Nandini, or Nandini and Simran's relationship that you identified with? I think that I identified with all of it. I do think that I would say first generation American, as I migrated here without my parents. And I feel like my viewpoint changes from Simran, who was born here and who went to school here and her values are here. I'm more the mom where I technically like started life here alone, of course. So it's different than starting from marriage. But I do feel like I relate more now to Nandini and Simran more, but I also related a lot to Mimi and Nandini. Mimi is the mom, because I do feel like I grew up in Zimbabwe. I still have Zimbabwean values, but I've changed a lot and I'm starting to see ways in a different perspective, but it's now like kind of meshing. But I don't know if I'll ever be able to relate to Simran because I have that part that I didn't grow up here. I've had to make life here. So, number 2, Nandini faces racism and misogyny at work. Discuss the occurrences, how she handles the situations. Would you have reacted the same? Have you ever experienced something similar? I think people don't realize what racism is in the workplace for them to realize that they might not be racists, but some of the actions and comments are racist. For example, Nandini walks into the room at the hospital because she's a doctor, and they think that she's the nurse or the cleaning lady or whatever, not realizing that she's a doctor. So here's where I challenge you to think about it and say, have I said comments like that in the past where I have made it seem as if a certain job is for a certain color or a certain male or female? And I think when we evaluate that bias, I think we can really change the work environment. For I experience it in different ways. Some people at work would come and say, hey, your hairstyle is interesting, or just come and touch your hair, like as if I'm in a circus, because they've never seen it. They've never seen it, and then I understand that people might not have seen black girl hair changes or black hair outside of like the relaxed hair, and they're quick to like touch. Don't do that. We're not in a circus, you know. And it's little things like that that isolate people from work environment. Okay, number 3. Simran and Kunal have many years of history together. Do you think Simran made the right choice in the end? Why or why not? Have you ever been in a situation where you struggled with whether to keep working through it or let it go? So the first part of that question, do you think Simran made the right choice in the end? I do. I think Simran is very young, and she's trying to find her footsteps in this world, and I feel like there's nothing wrong with getting married young, but I think when you don't really know what you want, you face a danger of discovering who you want and then who you are, and then realize it's not what you want. So I definitely think that she made the right choice. If her and Kunal or Neil end up together, at least she's come to that decision after knowing that, hey, I want to study this, I want to do this in the world, I want to explore this. I think it's very, very important. Okay, have you ever been in a situation where you struggled with whether to keep working through it or let go? I have, and I'm glad I'm where I'm at now, because who I was when I was younger in relationships is not who I am now. And I'm so thankful, because now I now know more what I want, whether it's like exploring different things, my temperament, what I want in a partner. So I do think that I recommend getting married later on in your 20s. But hey, that's my opinion, you know. All right, let's see. I think we've done 3, so I can do 2 more. Okay, I will do Rajit mentions that Rajit is Nandini's husband. He mentions that Nandini should give him the benefit of the doubt instead of assuming the worst. How did the relationship change? So I think Nandini and Rajit would have benefited from therapy. I do know that in minority households, the introduction of therapy is not something that is new to our community. But I do think that when you move from one country, especially countries that like really zone in on a woman's role in a marriage, and you move in to another country and you're having to deal with the new laws that are there, tax laws that are there, culture that are there, happy hour. I do think that it's nice to say that I wish you would have given her the benefit of the doubt, but I'm looking at it at a lens where I've normalized mental health as a problem. Because Nandini was taking care of his family as well as her family as well. And in minority groups, we really are expected to do everything, raise the children, take care of our in-laws, cook, clean, study, you know. And all those pressures, I think mentally, you think it's an isolated event by yourself, because you're not talking to your partner, because it's what is expected of women, you know. So I do think that it would have been nice if Nandini gave him the benefit of the doubt. But I think a lot of it was that she felt like she was sacrificing more while he was hiring who he wanted because they're both doctors, hiring who he wanted at the practice. Like, that freedom in your career, it really can lead to resentment if you feel like your spouse isn't giving you that. So how did the relationship change? I do think that the problem, when you don't discuss things and topics, you can shut down, and which is what happened. She basically moved to Baltimore from where they were to pursue what she wanted, what she always wanted. And she didn't tell them she was leaving. She just left. And I know, like, in our book club, people had different views about this, because they were like, she's wrong for doing what she did. But on the other hand, I have to feel for her. You come here and you have to make a family. Your family's not here. You find out things along the way, and everyone's coming to your house because you guys are the doctors. You guys are the rich relatives. So I don't know. So I'm happy their relationship changed. They were able to communicate. I think I like when they communicated. The relationship changed. They had never taken a trip outside of one trip, I believe. And people need to realize, in relationships and in friendships, you need to create that atmosphere of play. You need to go on vacation. Take your girlfriend out on a date. Take your wife out on a date. Go on a trip, a weekend trip, away from the kids. Shut off your phones. There's just so much that's happening in the world. So I'm happy that they were able to take the next trip, because I do think that when you go on vacation and you create that atmosphere of play, you create that atmosphere of erotica as well, in a good way, So that's what I've been told. So anyway, one more question. Planning a wedding can either bring family together or push them apart. How did planning Simran and Kunal's wedding affect the characters in the story? So, I think this is such a good question to end on, because it's packed, it's pregnant with a lot of things we can come from it. I think, we as females, we grow up thinking that marriage is the end all be all. And I think that it affected them because it pushed them apart, because she realized that she was having all these questions and she was battling culture and all that stuff. And I think that it brought her and her family together, because they were able to communicate next steps and things she wanted to do, and she was able to travel to India and explore that. So I definitely think that it also highlights, what do you really want in a marriage? Because all this time, Simran and Kunal met in high school. They were doing cell phones, cool, they're kissing and all that stuff, which is traditionally what's not done in Indian culture, according to the book. It's more of arranged marriage, which her parents had an arranged marriage. So I think that now when they were planning the wedding, they're at a point where they're like, do I want my wife to be more traditional? Do I want my wife to be working? Maybe I want to do Doctors Without Borders. What does that mean? Can I do a long distance relationship, or do I expect my wife? All these questions, a myriad of questions kept coming in. And I always think back to Bride Wars when I thought about that question, because Bride Wars, there were two best friends that they were getting married to two guys, and then their wedding was on the same day, and one of the couples broke up and one of them didn't. And I remember thinking that if your foundation is solid, if you shake it, then it all depends on the foundation. And I think that's what it was, that they were growing up and they realized that, hey, we haven't really discussed the important topics. Do I expect... And they all started coming out after they started going to therapy, which I think is important, to have those discussions. So I definitely think even in COVID, whether it was a friendship or relationship, I do think that a lot of foundation was shaken. And it wasn't solid in the beginning, then you can understand why it didn't work out. And there are some people who came out stronger than ever, learned a lot of communications because everyone was at home, everyone was working. So yeah, I think weddings are important sometimes. I think it's important to see what you're marrying into, to see if you want that. So I think that's very pivotal. But anyway, that's some of my questions that I picked up on at the back. I did like this book a lot. It made me really, really think about a lot of things. Whether it's what I want in a spouse, am I happy in my career, am I asking the right questions? But what's also important is it made me want to get to know the women before me. What is your story? How did you get to this point? And do you believe in therapy? What is your advice to the older generation? What is your advice to young women like me? I think that was important to start asking those questions. But anyway, that's all for today. I did a charcuterie board, a fruit charcuterie board that I will be uploading on Thursday. It was my birthday last week, so I do have some videos for that. And I have some reels on Instagram that I have uploaded, from the weekend. So remember to follow me on Instagram, Queen of Brunch, if you want to know what I do on a day-to-day basis. If you want to see any of my charcuterie boards, I am Grazing Boards by Chipo. Follow me for more content, subscribe, and thumbs up. Enjoy your day. Bye.